Let's take a look at NECA's Universal Monsters Ultimate The Mummy. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out The Mummy by NECA from Universal Studios. This is a Universal Monsters all-time great. The Mummy. Love this movie. Absolutely love this movie. It is kind of, I would call it like a comfort movie for me. Like when I'm taking a nap and I lay down, what do I go to? Mummy. A lot of times it's The Mummy. It's got great opening scene. The cinematography is unbelievable. I know all the words to it, so I can just close my eyes and still see the movie, fall asleep, wake up, and you know, I'm in another scene later in the movie, but I'll watch it all the way to the end. But yes, The Mummy, so good. 1932 stars Boris Karloff as the Mummy, who was, before he was the Mummy, he was Imhotep. And then after he come back to life, he became Ardith Bey, which Ardith Bey is the majority of the movie. The Mummy's barely in the movie. He's maybe in it for, I don't even know if he's in it for 60 seconds, probably less than that. But Boris Karloff also plays Ardith Bey. He assumes that identity to try to find his lost lover that had died. And her name was Anxanamen, I believe, was her name. She had died, and he was trying to raise her from the dead. Now, this was way back in the Egyptian days. And he got caught. He got caught trying to resurrect her, bring her back from the dead by reading a curse. His punishment for trying to bring her back to life was to be mummified alive. And that's how he became a mummy. He was mummified alive. And if you watch the movie, that's probably the most disturbing scene of the whole movie is the mummy. I mean, they flash back into the Egyptian times, and they actually show Imhotep being wrapped up and mummified alive. And it's pretty disturbing, especially for 1932. Now, this was directed by a guy named Karl Freund. Now, Karl Freund was always a cameraman, or we'll call him a cinematographer, fancy word for cameraman. Well, Karl Freund was the cameraman for Dracula and a bunch of them, and he was really pioneered the moving camera. He was the first guy to pick up the camera and move around with it. So he was well respected. Directorial debut was The Mummy. And there is a lot of, you know, the moving camera work. Obviously, he's not the cameraman in this, but him being the director, he could direct the cinematographer. I want to use this moving camera. And it's really effective in this movie. The scenes are great. The makeup artist was Jack Pierce, the same guy that did Frankenstein. Unbelievable makeup artist for the time. I mean, just an absolutely brilliant movie. If you watch it and not pay attention, you may dismiss it as just an old black and white movie. But pay attention to this movie. Really watch it. And it is outstanding. One of my favorites of all time. So, here he is. Now, this is going to be The Mummy, not Ardith Bey. I do, hopefully, fingers crossed, NECA will release Ultimate Ardith Bey, you know, in our 7-inch action figure form. Hopefully they do that. Let's take a look at the packaging. Great poster art. Have the poster right here, as you can see. Same thing. Very good. I love how it's a matte finish. And then all your colors, really colorful. Your mummy, your writing. And then Helen here in front of the Egyptian tomb there. It's in a high gloss. Really nice. I love how they did that. This side we got a picture of our action figure, the Mummy, Universal Monsters, NECA, Real Toys. On this side, a different picture of the Mummy. And he is an open mouth mummy here, which is not in the movie, by the way. The Mummy never opens his mouth. He does open his eyes, but that's it. Universal Monsters again, NECA, Real Toys top. We have the Mummy, picture of the Mummy that is on our poster. And in the back, we get some pictures of our action figure. And we have the papyrus right here. You read that, and that's what brings you back to life. And that's what when the Mummy gets brought back to life, he takes this so he can go resurrect Onyx Saman. Bottom, we have our makers, our engineers, sculptors. I like to give them a shout out, so there they are. And I think that's going to be it. Now, this one I have opened. I have opened this action figure, so I don't want you to think that this is a brand new opening. But I do have my mint on card one right here, which this one has never been opened, and it's not going to be opened. I always buy on my Universal Monsters. I get one to open and one not to open. Now, I have not documented this on the channel. That's why I want to do it now. So we'll open this flat, and here we have our action figure and then our Mummy. Now, when I put this back, I did not put the head on right, so the head that should be on the action figure is this head right here. And you can see that in my unopened one. So that is going to be really the only thing that's different about opening this, besides my tape being cut right there. So let's go ahead and get him out. The Mummy, Boris Karloff. And here's what I like to do. I like to get in here, because I keep my packaging. Pop that open so you don't rip it. Do not rip your packaging. There it is, and you do have this in the background. And I do believe that would come out if you wanted to get some shots of that. And here is the Mummy in his coffin. Really, really nice. I mean, this is absolutely wonderful. Now, is this the newest one that I have? We have all our NECA's right here that we've opened previously, and I think this was a 2023, I want to say, copyrighted 2023, maybe 2022. So this would indeed be newer than any one of those up there. And we'll start with his accessories, and here is that cap. The cap that I like so much, it holds all your accessories in there. Set that to the side. And first accessories we're going to have is bandages. Now, you could just place these over top of him, and that's going to make him look like his bandages are coming unwrapped. So we'll set those right there. Next, we got different hands. So we have a right and a left hand. Now, no, wait a minute. Now, these are both left hands. And they have the same ring on them. You can just do a different hand motion with your action figure. So 2 left hands. So we're going to have 3 left hands and 1 right hand with this Mummy. So no need to take the right hand off. Next, we have the sarcophagus right here. And this is what holds the spell. So in the movie, they find this. One young archaeologist, kind of young and dumb, you know, those young guys, he actually, on his own, opens this up, takes the parchment out, the papyrus, and reads it. And the Mummy is behind him. And as he's reading that, the Mummy comes to life, because he read the spell that resurrects people, dead people. And it resurrects the mummy right there. And the mummy takes the papyrus and walks out of the room. Does not kill the young archaeologist, although he goes crazy. He goes absolutely crazy. And then we flash forward 10 years to 1932. Yes, the movie takes place at current time. The film was made in 1932. And there's another team of archaeologists. And they are looking for Egyptian relics. So there's that. Next, we got our 2 bonus heads. Now, this is the head that was originally on him, which was the closed eyes. And that's what you see. The first thing you see of the mummy in the movie is that. Second thing you see in the mummy is while that young archaeologist is reading the spell. Wait a minute. Did I show you the... Oh, that is the open eye. I'm sorry. This is the one that was on the action figure. Closed eye. That's the first thing you see. This is the first face of the mummy you see. His eyes closed in a sarcophagus. The second face you see in the movie is his eyes open as that young archaeologist is reading the spell to bring people back to life. And that's when he walks out and takes the parchment and leaves to go find his queen. All right, so that's our accessories. And the last thing we have, of course, is our action figure. Now, I am going to say that this is probably the best NECA Universal Monsters action figure as far as articulation. So we have a up slightly, not a ton. We have a ton of down. Look at that. Side to side, really good side to side. We have shoulders all the way around. We have an upper arm cut. We have double jointed elbows. Now, this is the first NECA figure I've seen double jointed, and I'll show you why that is. He does have elbow rotation also, wrists up and down, no side to side. He has an ab crunch even. He has a hula hoop waist. He's got big splits, big straddles. He has single jointed knees as opposed to double jointed elbows. He has ankle rockers, and look at this. The mummy can pirouette. Do, 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 do. So yes, the mummy can pirouette. So now, why? Let's take a look at this mummy, and why does he have double jointed elbows? And why does he rotate like this? It is so you can display your mummy like this. Just like on the poster. That's probably going to be how everybody wants to display this mummy. Now, let's take a look at this head sculpt. Now, this head sculpt is totally made up by our imagination team at NECA. So at no point in the movie did Imhotep the Mummy open his mouth. Now, there were other Universal Monster mummy movies. Lon Chaney Jr. played Ghost of the Mummy, or Mummy's Ghost. Now, he did open his mouth, and he did wander around. So, this movie, like I said, he was in it for, if it was 60 seconds, I'd be surprised. So, but yeah, that is why he has double jointed elbows. So you can get him in that posture right there. So that is very, very special. Now, they must have really put in a lot of money on that double jointed stuff and the rotating elbows and the rotating, well, they always did rotate their arms and their elbows and knees, but This is upper arm cut there too. So very, very good. And just look at the wrap on there. I mean, that is unbelievable. I love this so much. I think it is absolutely one of the greatest NECA figures of all time. I know there's not a lot to it. It's just a guy wrapped in wrappings, but man, it is awesome. The face sculpt is so good. Now let's put on, this is what came, how this action figure came. His head, there you go. Look at that head sculpt. And that does look like Boris Karloff. They did a really good job. And like I mentioned, the head movement, he's got so much head movement. I mean, he's even looking up pretty good. And to get that in the side so you can look like the poster is just awesome. Now, one thing I'm not seeing is the ring. I believe he puts on that later. Now, I have an attachment to my Leatherface action figure there, but there is no way that that figure is better than this one. This action figure right here is, it's going to be hard for NECA to top this one, in my opinion. Really, really hard. Just great. Now, there is a black and white version of this, which I do have, and I will unbox. Okay, let's put his other head sculpt on. His opened eyes, closed mouth. Now, these are the two I'm going to display him. I'm not going to display that open mouth, just because boy, that is tight. We may have to heat this head up. I did have to heat a head up last week, and guess what? I left my wife's hair dryer in here, and in the morning she's getting ready for work, and I'm downstairs starting the laundry and getting my coffee going, and my wife comes down there and says, "Have you seen my hair dryer?" And I said, "Oh my God, yes I have." And I come up to this room here and went and got it for her. She said, why do you have a hair dryer? I said, well, sometimes you got to heat these joints up so your head sculpts will go on. There he is with his open eyes, and he's going to walk out. He's going to take the parchment paper, and he's going to leave. Now we can put him in a mummy pose here, walking. You got your, this is what I'm talking about. You can have your wraps hanging off of him. There's your mummy. So yeah, this has to be a 10 out of 10. Has to be. I mean, this is right up there with your G.I. Joe classified as far as articulation. I mean, not quite. They don't have the double jointed knees, but everything else is absolutely awesome. It actually looks up a lot better than most of our G.I. Joes. So really happy with this. I mean, this has got to be the best. Now, is it my favorite? Like I mentioned, I have a real close attachment to these right here, especially Leatherface, Friday the 13th, Part 2 and Part 3. I love those right there. I think I'm going to go with the Mummy. I really do. I think the Mummy takes the cake. The likeness to Boris Karloff's awesome. Just the articulation. Everything is good. Nothing's coming apart here. I have had trouble with some of my figures breaking. Probably the worst figure for breaking on me was, as far as action figure, was Freddy Krueger. Legs kept breaking. And the worst for accessories and just awful articulation is that ghost face. He's a thumbs down, really. I mean, it was a bad one. That's 2020 now. This has no copyright on him. No copyright anywhere on here. But I'm pretty sure it was 2022 or 2023. I will put it on the screen when I find out. But yeah, that's it. That is Universal Monsters NECA Ultimate Mummy. And until next time.